Hello everyone. I'm back here with another video to talk about refusals in the immigration applications for Canada. Today I want to talk about the family sponsorship application that is refused. There could be many reasons, but I will just start with what can you do when there is a refusal and why it could be refused. We will, and the subsequent videos, I will discuss a little bit more on each one of those as well. So preparing a sponsorship application needs a lot of depth and needs to be done meticulously, detailed in a very detailed way. You have to make sure that everything that you are writing in your application or putting in your forms has substantial evidence to prove what you're telling is correct. The key factor that the application, the spousal sponsorship application that is based on, it is based on the relationship of the partners. It has to be documented and well explained. There are quite a few points of consideration, and if they are not established or documented well in the application is very likely to be refused. But before refusing the application, the immigration officer may request for more information from you, might send a letter that is called a procedural fairness letter. And when you receive this letter, it is a chance for you to respond and clarify all the doubts which the officer is having through facts and additional documentation if possible. The officer can also request for particular documents as well. Take a note of whatever that is mentioned, whatever he or she is looking for, you should be able to provide. If you cannot, like certain documents are not available, provide a detailed information explanation to avoid a refusal as to why these documents cannot be submitted. There could be some inadmissibility issue as well, a concern which is very likely to end up in a refusal. So be aware and be sure of the documents that you are going to submit, and they should be correct. Do it as honestly as possible. There are many people who would like to, say, okay, this document is not available. I can use a substitute document. Maybe that can support. If something is not available, whatever that you can submit, try your best and wait for the outcome. Usually, for the procedural fairness letter, you might have a few days to about 30 days time within which you need to submit your information and documents as required. Make sure that you take care of the time and do it within that time frame, or send a letter that why you cannot submit it within this time. There should be enough evidence. It should be, I would say whatever you say must be backed up by reasonable support, that this cannot be done because of this reason, or you made an attempt to get some document, provide the proof of that you made an attempt. So do all what you can. But in the end, if the application is refused and it was an outland sponsorship, you as the sponsor can appeal the decision, and request must be submitted within 30 days. But in case, the application was an inland sponsorship, it cannot be appealed. And if also, if the person you sponsored, it was an outland sponsorship, but the person you sponsored was found inadmissible to Canada, the officer will, explain that in the letter, in the refusal letter. That time also you cannot appeal that. So we will discuss this in some following video. I will take time to prepare a video on that as well. So if you're in Canada and the spousal sponsorship application was refused, and definitely there is no provision for you to appeal it, but you can ask for permission from the Federal Court of Canada to apply for a judicial review. That you can do also when the outline sponsorship application was refused, you appealed, it was again declined, and then you need to go to the court for that. Go to the court only when you're sure that whatever you submitted was the best you could do and was correct, and there is a reasonable chance that you feel that the officer made an error in law or fact, did not notice what you submitted. You have to be very clear about these facts, because if you're going to the court, they are not going to look at any new reasonings or new evidences that you are going to provide, which was not submitted before. So it's better, sometimes it's always good if you can prepare a good sponsorship application again and submit it. But make sure that you are eligible to submit the application. So now let's look at the main reasons why the spousal sponsorship application was refused in the first place. Were you, as a sponsor, were you eligible to sponsor? Did your partner qualify to be sponsored? In eligibility, many factors like age and the status in Canada as a sponsor will matter. And your partner to qualify, also the age and admissibility factors will matter for the sponsor, the partner as well. So could you provide good enough evidence to prove that your relationship is genuine? And what was that evidence? What is that evidence? What could it be? Did you explore when you submitted your application? Did you look through everything that this is all that you can submit as a proof of relationship of your, it is a proof of relationship, your marriage, if you were married, if you are in a common law relationship, were you able to provide enough documentation to support that? And if it is a common law relationship, did you live together for at least 12 months? Food for thought. And also, if it is a conjugal relationship, which can be done only if it is outside Canada application, this conjugal relationship with the sponsor was also for at least 1 year. You have to make sure of that. And this is kind of slightly difficult to prove, but there are people who have done the applications and, they have been successful, but not an easy one. You really have to dig deep into your documentation. Did you provide enough evidence to prove that you lived together as a common law in the same place, same address, you paid bills, you had any joint accounts? What all proof you have to say that you live together? Your friends know you as common law partners. Are you known at each other's workplaces as partners? You have to look into what all evidence you can provide that will reflect that you're common law partners within your friend circles, within your workspace, and the community. And if you're married, you need to consider the marriage certificates. Here also, many people falter. They sometimes it is a religious marriage. They do not get the correct religious documentation in place. Some religious weddings are also done by proxy, which is not accepted in Canada. These proxy marriages are not accepted at all. So you want to be sure that the religious authority, like the church or any temple that gave you any verifiable document, was it registered by the church? Was there a civil court marriage? Did you provide that certificate signed by the marriage registrar for the appropriate court in the city or state or province of that particular country? Different rules apply to different countries, different cities and states. You have to look into that and make sure that the marriage is recognized where you got married. also in the first place before it is before you are looking at Canada. If the wedding ritual was religious or set within a cultural perspective, what documents can you provide to prove that it was probably arranged or it was organized in a systemic way? Do the documents and photos prove that? Was there any communication that you have had? Was it on, can you get some information from your social media accounts, from your emails, from cards and letters that were sent? You need to be very careful that you are providing enough, all of that to prove your relationship. And if it was not set within the cultural perspective, then how can you explain that the relationship is still genuine? Definitely it is genuine, but you need to see how are you going to explain it. There have been unusual circumstances where people cannot provide certain documents. It just happens, but then try to explain as honestly as possible and back it up with verifiable information or evidence. Sometimes you cannot take enough photos. Sometimes certain communities or cultures do not allow certain photographs to be taken at some time. It could be any other thing. It could be some mishap in a family, and you could not have an elaborate program celebration of the for the marriage ceremony, or to kind of say that you are in a relationship now. Maybe you organized a program where you wanted to inform everyone that you are in a relationship and you could not do it the way you planned. All that needs to be explained, and it can be backed up. If it is a genuine relationship, you can always find information and evidence to prove it. There is a possibility that your forms were not filled accurately, and this happens very often. And at times what happens is, I've noticed that people question, why should I give my information to immigration? This family is not going to come to Canada. They are not even interested. They are not even in talking terms to me. So I don't want to provide this information. But you never know if that family ever applied, they have provided your information in their forms, and you are not going to provide it. It could be a misrep. So this is just one of the points in the form that I'm mentioning. There are many other things. Sometimes people just neglect giving their, addresses and their work information. Please do that. Please make sure whatever that is being asked for, please do that. And if you feel that you cannot provide some information for a particular reason, provide that information as well. Provide that explanation. And, it is also possible that the documents that you received, maybe you're not aware of it. Maybe there is some document that you're providing is not genuine. Or maybe there is something that is not correct about the document, and you may need to explain. It may be genuine and it doesn't look good. You might need to explain that this is why the document looks like this. But IRCC is very particular about the documents. In a way, they should not be fraud. They should not be, it is a very serious criminal offense to do this kind of a thing. Applications can be refused, and of course, you could be barred from applying again for another 5 years if it was a misrepresentation for any reason. And I mean, it could be, I'm not saying it's all going to be case specific, whatever reason it is. And but you as the sponsor, you need to look, if you as the sponsor, did you ever apply for any immigration loans that were not repaid? Or were you on social assistance during the past 12 months, which you overlooked? These are the factors that you really need to reflect back. If there was a refusal, consider what could have gone wrong. Is it possible? Sometimes people are sponsored to Canada. by a partner and they became a permanent resident as a sponsored spouse, and then in less than 5 years you sponsored your partner because you think that you had a divorce. The previous marriage ended up in a divorce, and so you want to sponsor a new partner. That is not that comes under sponsorship bar. I mean, you cannot sponsor a partner if you became a permanent resident as a sponsored spouse in less than 5 years. So it's only after those 5 years of becoming a permanent resident, you can apply to sponsor another partner. So if there were previous marriages, have you clearly explained, given enough documentation to explain the marriage was really, it was a genuine divorce and there are proper documents? And if it did not end in a divorce, what kind of an application are you submitting? You can always, look into the details of your own documentation to verify what have you given and why this could have ended up in a refusal. The new application has ended in a refusal. You will find your own answer in that. Were there any criminal charges or convictions that needed to be addressed? This is again a very serious thing. Inadmissibility, both in terms of criminality and medical inadmissibility can also impact your application. So look into it or discuss with a professional to know more information about this. Generally, people sometimes they are not aware of all these things and they do not explain. They might just say that, yes, they were criminally charged, or when there is a security check, some information could be revealed to immigration. So you want to be as honest as possible and explain very clearly what is, and if you can, there may be a possibility. I'm not saying anything that this can be overcome at all times. Sometimes it may not. But definitely speak with a professional to see how you can overcome this criminality. So there could be many other reasons that need to be addressed when there is a refusal. These are just a few things that I've pointed out, as a food for thought. Just think about it. And if you need assistance with your application, you can always resubmit an application. It's not, like I said, you can appeal your application if it was an outside Canada sponsorship. But you can always, and if there is a refusal, you can resubmit it and reach out to us if you have any questions and you want to do it well. We are very happy to support you professionally. And book a consultation with me or email me at the email showing in the video link. Thank you. So if you like my video and you're enjoying this information, please subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading videos related to immigration in Canada, how you can do your applications well, what are your options at different stages. So do subscribe, and I look forward to supporting you all in your immigration journey for Canada.